All right, let me just start off by saying I apologize to our listeners for doing so many John Carpenter movies.
I don't think our listeners need your apology for John Carpenter movies, but they do need your apology for why we're doing this movie.
We're doing this movie because it's Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And it's on Halloween. What do you mean, why we're doing this movie?
Okay, let's play innocent. But why else are we doing this movie?
Oh my god. Okay. So, I have never actually seen Halloween, the original.
It's a travesty. Like, you do a movie podcast, and you haven't seen one of the most iconic movies of all time.
All right, let's be real here. There are a lot of movies on our list of upcoming that you have never seen that are classics.
I wouldn't say a lot, but there are some, sure. But this one is like one of those, like, everybody has seen it. You even thought you had seen it before we watched it.
So, I did. I was confusing this one with the second one, which I have seen.
Why would you watch the second movie in a series, but not the first?
No, it was just on. I don't know what you want from me. I came from a very sheltered house where no one watched horror movies in my family.
I don't have an opinion on that, but, I mean, you are an adult and could have watched, at least the classics. But okay, let's move forward. Okay. So, I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
And this is Cinematically Correct. And this week, because today is Halloween, we are doing Halloween.
The original, OG.
Yes. One of the reasons we picked it is because the remake is out this year, and I really want to see it. But now that I know he hasn't seen probably any of the sequels, we've got a lot of movie watching to do.
I just admitted to seeing the second one. What do you mean I haven't seen this?
And have you seen any of the others?
Probably not.
I'm really shocked. So we have a lot of movie watching to do, but at least let's get the basics down. So what did you think of this movie?
So I like this movie. I enjoyed it. It was a little bit slow to start, but the tension did a nice job of building. I noticed that in the thing, too.
It was slow to start. He killed somebody in frame, 1.
Other than that, there was nothing in the middle part of this movie that was just him following people around in a car.
Okay, I will admit that you did complain that somebody hadn't died after about the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Exactly.
I did not know how much you craved death in your life.
All right. So, anyway, I'm going to go through a brief synopsis of the movie.
Oh, we love those.
Yeah, I know.
How much does everybody love Tyler's brief synopsises that are never brief and never really an actual synopsis?
So, a child, 6 years old, murders his sister after she had the fastest sexual experience ever.
Why are you still stuck on that?
It was 1 minute, 6 seconds.
The fact that you looked it up, is it an insecurity? Do you want to talk about it?
I didn't look it up. It was on IMDb.
You just happened to notice it when you pointed it out in the movie.
Well, you pointed it out in the movie too.
Not on this scene.
Okay. Well, there's another scene that you pointed out in the movie. Regardless, kills his sister, gets sent to a psych ward forever, except it's not forever because he breaks out and kills a bunch of high school students. That's the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, brief synopsis, right? And your patronizing clapping is not appreciated.
No, I'm really proud of you. Good job. You've learned how to do it. I'm proud.
I do love the Halloween music. The theme song is just fantastic.
Yeah, John Carpenter scored it himself in, I think they said 3 days.
4 days is what I read, but...
Regardless, very fast. It was inspired by The Exorcist and Suspiria, which I have not seen Suspiria, but I've heard good things.
I have not either. I've seen The Exorcist, so that's...
I would hope.
Well, right. I'm just...
That would be terrifying, but
checking off boxes for all the classic movies that I have seen.
Oh, he just wanted to get that out there so nobody attacks him for that too. So, got it.
So the whole movie was shot in 20 days.
Yeah, because they wanted to get it out for Halloween.
Right.
Because the original concept was the babysitter killer, and somebody gave him the suggestion that he should center it around a holiday instead of a babysitter, because it would do better. So they decided on Halloween, and they had to rush to get it done.
And I guess that makes sense because Halloween is the scariest of the holidays.
Yeah, I don't know if they picked it for that reason or if they picked it because it was the closest holiday to when they were shooting. I don't honestly know. I didn't read anything about that. Did you?
I did not. I just to me Halloween makes sense because that's the holiday where people dress up in masks and kill people, I guess. Although you should never really kill anyone. So I guess because they were trying to get it done for Halloween, that's why there were jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. Why were there jack-o'-lanterns in every room?
You said because it's Halloween and that's what people do.
Not in every room, but...
Yeah, it's the same face over and over again. Some with teeth, some without, but...
Did they use the same pumpkin?
The same stencil, at least.
I just don't know why they would put a pumpkin in every single room, other than to hammer home the point that it's Halloween.
That's what you said when watching it. I don't know why you're bringing...
What do you mean I said that when I was watching it?
My observations again while watching a movie.
To be perfectly fair, it was very odd when you mentioned that there was a jack-o'-lantern in the bedroom. And I think I mentioned that too.
You did, but after I did.
So, the opening scene where Michael Myers escapes was just really odd to me.
The opening scene where Michael Myers escapes, those are two very different things.
The opening scene, he kills his sister and then gets sent to a psych ward forever. And then the next scene where Michael Myers is involved, he escapes.
Okay.
And I don't for the life of me know why anyone would open a window if there are a bunch of crazy people
Have
loose.
you never watched a horror movie in the past?
I have watched a movie
towards the danger. That's just what you do in a horror movie.
To this day, it still makes me irritated because it crushes the illusion. Because no person is going to do that.
I don't feel like you know what you would do if somebody was crawling on your car. I don't feel like you would know how you would react. Has this happened to you before, or do you have a frame of reference?
Yes, I have a frame of reference for letting a deranged killer steal my car.
Oh, well, I mean, I didn't know. So now that I know that you're an expert on the matter...
Way to be funny and catty, just like the women in the movie.
They're not catty. They're just awful. They're
horrible.
Atrocious.
They were not good to their
They're the
friends.
reason I don't like women. They're it.
That's it? That's the whole thing? You encapsulate all women with 3 characters?
Those were the stereotypes of awfulness.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Like, bad.
Yeah.
Then Jamie Lee Curtis was actually the only teenager.
Well, okay.
The rest of them were the ones acting like children, and she was the only teenager.
Well, I don't know what to say to that other than...
It's just ironic, I guess.
Can we talk about he steals the car and drives to this place that he hasn't been to since he was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an internet uproar about how he drove a car.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what did you find out since you did all the research on this?
Well, I didn't do research. I've never had a problem with driving a car. Is it something that is that hard to drive an automatic car?
I feel like you're bringing this up because you're aware that I failed my first driving test and you're just trying to be condescending.
I wasn't aware until you told me 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so anybody who says that I bullied him, he is literally bringing up an insecurity of mine that I told him prior to recording the podcast. So...
In my defense, I didn't realize it was that big of an issue because you told me 5 minutes ago before we started recording.
No, it's fine. You can totally air my insecurities on a podcast. That's what we're here for.
You do it all the time. How is that fair? I can't do it once?
I do it all the time. I mean, I could. I've got some. You want me to share the ones that I'm thinking of?
No, please no.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But since you brought that to my attention, and I know that you're not good at research, I did do some research on it while we were sitting here waiting. Okay. And so there's 2 theories. Apparently, in later Halloween movies, there is people who apparently taught him to drive, and the Man in Black is one of them. So that's later movies that's brought up. Or the other theory...
So I looked for it. I wasn't able to find anything other than it was explained later on.
I know. It's just because you're terrible at research. It's fine. The other theory, sticking with just this movie alone, is that he's just pure evil and he has an internal compass that draws him back to his hometown because of the whole fate thing.
Well, okay, that's fine. But it was a good ways away, right, from where he was?
I love how we're going back to what I said before the podcast. But yes, it was a good ways away.
Well, how did he get gas for the car?
So that's another thing that the internet has been chatting about. And the rumor is that he either kills everybody at the gas stations and they just don't talk about it, Or he takes off the mask and acts like a normal person while getting gas so that it doesn't draw attention.
Well, how does he have money for gas and act like a normal person if he doesn't speak?
He stole the costume. Who's to say he didn't steal money off the person he got the costume from?
Fair. It's not a costume, it's a jumpsuit.
Whatever.
It's like a mechanic's overalls.
The specifics are so necessary. I think the podcast knew what I meant by costume. Did you guys know, or were you confused? I'm just curious.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we talk about John Carpenter hating dogs?
Why do we have to talk about... It makes me so sad. So I put out a Facebook post about this because it bothers me so much. And I asked people if they knew what John Carpenter had against dogs. Because in The Thing, they were all The Thing. And he had mentioned in that movie that like somebody on his film had worked with animatronic dogs.
Well, the special effects guy for The Thing had just done a movie with animatronic dogs. And he didn't want to do anything with dogs again.
Right. Now, I don't remember if there's any dog-related incident in Big Trouble in Little China. I don't honestly remember, but that was less gory, so even if it was, it wouldn't have been as bad. But then in this movie, of course...
He stabs the German Shepherd.
Right. And I feel like I haven't noticed a trend like this with other people, but according to Facebook and my lovely friends, they say that this happens in so many horror movies because they're trying to make the audience unsettled. And the easiest way to do that is to kill an animal. So that's a good way to establish that unsettling feeling.
Well, we've watched a bunch of horror movies together, haven't we? Like, several?
I wouldn't say a lot, but...
Well, the only movies that I can remember that animals die is John Carpenter movies.
I know, me too. Well, I mean, minus I Am Legend.
Well, that's not a horror movie, but...
It's zombies.
Yeah, but they destroyed that movie
ever. That's the only movie I can think of beyond that has something that like really sticks out in my mind.
I mean, Old Yeller, but that's not a horror movie either.
No, that doesn't even count. That's not the same thing.
Can we just talk about how he just follows them around all day? Like, in today's day and age, that would not happen.
So apparently we're not talking about the plot? Is that what we've decided? We made that decision?
What do you mean we're talking about this? This is part of the movie.
Okay, go ahead.
So he follows them around all day. He follows a high school girl around all day in a car, and nobody notices.
Well, she noticed.
Yeah, but if this was today, the entire town would know because she'd put it up on the internet.
Okay, but it's not today, so we can't judge movies based on our cultural norms.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, it is fair.
He does a lot of standing around outside. For a person that is trying to kill as many people as possible, you want to be not obvious.
Oh, do you want to tell me other things you want to do before you're supposed to kill somebody? I didn't know you were an expert, but now I'm curious.
I would not make myself visible if I'm going to commit serial murder.
Did you know he was wearing a mask? Did you notice?
Yeah, that doesn't make you less conspicuous.
Well, it makes you...
On Halloween it does, which is fair, but by and large, grown-ass men do not wear masks for no reason.
Right, but it was Halloween, so I'm pretty sure that's what he was going for. Just, maybe. And also, I don't think he really cared if people saw him because he was evil. So he could kill them too. So I'm not really sure he cared.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't want to get locked up in a psych ward again.
He's probably pretty certain he can kill them before they do that. Okay, too much silence. Come on.
I don't know what to say now because you've refuted all my arguments. And
I'm really good at that. I'm pretty talented at arguing.
Yeah, I know. Much to my chagrin. And my...
Who uses these words?
What do you mean?
Chagrin? Really?
Dismay.
Thank
Displeasure.
you. Normal people words. Thank you.
Why do you have a problem with my words?
I don't. I just like to make fun of you.
So, that's that part of the movie. And then they start killing the teenagers finally. Which... About damn time. I mean, it took a while to kill somebody.
You whined about that. You're like, oh my god, they haven't murdered anybody in like 20 minutes.
Of course I did, because it was irritating. I mean, I will give them credit. for a good portion of the movie, there's a lot of suspense because you didn't know when the first person was going to die. But at some point, you just got to... You can't keep building. You got to be like, all right, just kill somebody already.
Well, I think part of it was trying to, build what happened. Like, how did he get out? Where did he go? Like, all of those things. So they had to establish that he broken into the hardware store. They had to establish that he drove. They had to establish that he went back to his childhood home. They had to establish that he dug up his sister's... He ate a dog
somehow?
Yeah, he dug up his sister's grave. Like, all these things they had to establish.
Again, a dog? What? Eating a dog?
Why do you keep going back to the dog? It's really bothering you, eh?
It was horrible.
Well, it didn't say it bothered you during the movie.
It did. I just...
You're trying to elicit sympathy.
Yes, that. Mm-hmm. So why did he bring his sister's headstone back to the house? Just because he can?
Because he's trying to finish out that fate. So in one of the other movies, it's like the curse of the thornstone. Hold on, I saved it. But so in one of the later movies, they explain that he had like a curse on him, and that's why he has the supernatural powers, and that's why he has to come back and kill the people that he has to kill. And
so he's not a person, he's a supernatural being.
Yes, I already told you that part.
Can I ask a question? Would you ever buy a house with the laundry outside?
Curse of the Thorn, if you were wondering.
Curse of the Thorn.
And me, personally, in New England, where it gets to be like negative degrees outside, no, I would not.
With snow?
No, I would not. I would take the laundry out of the washer, and it would freeze on like, instantaneous.
Well, this is supposed to take place in Illinois. Also very cold.
Okay, but also, it wasn't that cold yet. It was in October.
Well, yes, but they have to do laundry year-round. Like, you can't stop doing laundry.
So maybe that was a thing in the 70s. I don't know. I didn't live in the 70s.
Well, the only explanation I can come up with is that it was not filmed in Illinois. It was filmed in California.
Well, it was. It was filmed in Pasadena.
Right. So, I guess if the weather is always lovely, who cares? But I ain't doing that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know one of the writers was from Jersey, so you would think she would have some kind of...
Don't have laundry outside? That's weird.
I don't know. Like, to our listeners, do people have laundry outside now? Like, is that like a thing from different states? Or is that like an older thing? Or is that just a plot hole?
I think that has to be something from warmer places, because that's the only thing that even remotely makes sense.
Maybe. I mean, I've never lived in a warmer place minus Florida, and our laundry was indoors.
Yeah. I want the drinking age to go back to 18.
I don't know why we jumped there, but I don't.
Well, back when I was in high school, I wish it was 18. I don't care either way now.
I'm just not going to get into a political debate about these things with you, but yeah, that was random.
I don't know where else to go.
They set a great example for the drinking and doing weed and what happens to you. So
also the having sex in some strange person's house.
In someone's bed.
Without their permission.
That's disgusting.
And then smoking afterwards.
That's gross.
In their bed.
That's too far.
Well, the having sex in someone else's bed is already too far. But then to add the smoking afterwards, that's just, come on.
Right.
What are you doing?
So one of the things, since you said you don't know where to go from here, that I wanted to bring up was that you had asked, why was he constantly going after Lori? Like, why her?
Yeah.
And apparently it's revealed in extra scenes in this movie that she's his sister.
So what extra scenes?
So apparently this movie, when brought onto TV, because of the nudity, it had to be cut back, and it was under 2 hours, and it was like slotted for 2 hours, so he had to add extra scenes in to hit that 2-hour time block. And in those extra scenes, it was revealed that she is his sister.
Does she not know that he's her brother? Or I don't know, because...
I don't know. I'm assuming probably not.
Well, because she was born 15 years ago. She's a high school junior. You're 16, 17 years old, right?
I think the rumor is that he's older by 2 years from her.
So if he was 6, she would have been 4.
So doesn't mean she would remember. Do you remember a lot of things from when you were 4? I
don't have a trauma where my brother kills my older sister. I think I would remember that. I think that would stick in my head, oh my god, my brother's going to prison.
I don't know, but that's what it says online, is that she's his sister, and that's why these things happen. So, you can ask the interwebs why that is the way it is, but...
So, excellent cast for this movie.
Like who?
Oh, well, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, this is her first feature film.
Yes, it was. She was in TV before this. I looked it up during the movie, actually. At the start of the movie.
Okay.
Donald Pleasance.
Where does he play?
Dr. Loomis. So, I love Donald Pleasance because I just love him because he was in The Great Escape. And you just looked it up and showed it and proved me wrong.
Yeah, so while he was talking, I had to look up about Michael Myers and the age and the being a brother thing. I just needed to know. So it says when you Google it, it says Laurie Strode was born Cynthia Myers on February 22nd, 1961. She was the youngest of 3 children of Donald and Edith Myers. When Laurie was only 2, her 6-year-old brother, Michael, brutally murdered their older sister, Judith, with a butcher knife. Michael was sent away following the incident.
Well, wouldn't her parents have, pictures of her deceased sister?
I'm guessing that she must have been adopted.
So where did her parents go? Did they just...
Why are you asking all these questions?
I don't know.
You know that I don't know the answers.
Well, you're pulling that up and you're putting it in my face and then giving me no other explanation. So, more plot holes.
I don't think they're plot holes. I think that a lot of the information can be found in the book that was written by Curtis Richards. That is basically impossible to find and costs $530, and the only place that I was able to find it.
It's impossible to find. It cost $500?
$530.33. It's called Halloween by Curtis Richards. However, I did find a PDF version, which I'm not sure how legal it is to read a PDF version, but I mean...
I ain't spending $530 on a book. Some of our rich listeners, if you want to treat us, send it to us.
Our P.O. box is on our Instagram, is what he's saying.
Basically. Send us free stuff. We like free stuff.
That's terrible, and please don't take that seriously. But it is there, and apparently, according to a lot of people on the internet, this book gives the background of Michael Myers, of his anger problems, of why he did what he did, of the family, all that kind of stuff. So, might be an interesting read. It's apparently very, very popular. That's why.
So I heard that a lot of the inspiration came from John Carpenter's experience when he was in college or high school or wherever, where he toured a mental institution, and he met a child that terrified the holy crap out of him.
Well, that's horrible, and I did not read that. That's awful.
Well, so one of the lines in the movie is the doctor saying, "I looked into his eyes and I saw evil and it terrified me." That's supposedly a direct quote from John Carpenter from his experience with a mental institution.
I hope the child that it was based off of does not know that, because that's horrible.
I also hope they get the help that they need if they do need help.
Well, right, but anyway.
And they don't murder anyone. Don't murder anyone. Murder is bad.
I'm glad that that's the PSA we have to give. The one thing I did want to mention was at the beginning of the movie, there was a quote by Samuels about fate, which kind of...
What was the quote?
I wish I had kept it open, because I had it open a minute ago. But regardless, the quote about fate really kind of tied together the whole movie about how... sorry, I was trying to find it, but I'm not going to be able to find it. I'm not going to be able to pull it back open. But I thought that it was interesting that they put that at the beginning of the movie, because really this whole movie is based on fate. And his character being called the Boogeyman is like the unmovable evil that follows Laurie and everybody in the town, and as they progress and try to get rid of him, how more like despair and whatever comes, because that's their fate, is for him to follow. So I just thought it was interesting that they did that, and then throughout all the sequels they kind of stick with that.
The whole fate, your fate is to be murdered. Right,
and I mean, I think you can, even if you haven't seen all the sequels, you can see that her fate is to constantly basically battle him.
And be terrified that he's always going to be coming after her.
Right. So, I just found that interesting that they put that right at the beginning of the movie.
That would suck. I don't ever want that life.
No, nobody does. But do you have other things? Because we do need to do audience asks.
I do. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were considered for Dr. Loomis.
I know who Christopher Lee is. I have no idea who Peter Cushing is.
Peter Cushing is the guy that gets force choked in Star Wars, I believe.
That gets choked in Star Wars?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh.
Like the Admiral that... Yeah.
Got it.
Let's see. The actors all had to wear their own clothes for this movie.
Yeah, low budget.
Low budget, $300,000. So the funding for this movie came from an interesting story. Mm-hmm. So John Carpenter was talking to this rich Hollywood type, and the guy was saying, yeah, I'm funding this movie with such and such actor. It's costing me $300,000 a day. And John Carpenter's like, I want to do this whole movie for $300,000. And the guy's like, okay, cash. That's the story. Like, just...
Yeah, I mean, and it's was the most profitable movie from 1978 to 1999 when Blair Witch Project came out, which beat it out. Right.
It would just crushed box office expectations.
Well, of course it did.
And it's a cult classic, and people love it to this day.
Yep.
There was a spoof driving video.
Oh, yeah. So I posted that on my personal Facebook. If people want to see it, I can also share it to Twitter. But that's hilarious. So
that's awesome. It's got that skinny, tall actor that I can't ever remember the name of.
You said he was from Bones.
Bones. He's an Avatar.
He looks familiar to me. But anyways, it's really funny. It's about how Michael Myers learned to drive because that apparently is the biggest question on the internet. So.
And also killed like 6 people learning to drive.
Yeah. Well, and animals.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So definitely check that movie out or video out if you need a laugh for the Halloween season.
The only other thing that I have is the Tyler's Interesting Fun Fact, where it's Jamie Lee Curtis is the daughter of Janet Leigh.
Oh, how'd you find that out?
You told me.
Oh, yeah, I'm shocked. Yeah, so Janet Leigh is Marion Crane in Psycho.
Yes.
Which, by the way, just because we're saying that, don't you think the stabbing scenes had to have been inspired a little bit from Psycho? Just by the way
They were very reminiscent of the Psycho stabbing scenes, yes.
Right, yeah, they had to be. And also, the character Loomis, his name is the same name as Marion Crane's love interest in Psycho.
Yes.
So, just, obviously they were inspired by Hitchcock in some way.
Well, because Alfred Hitchcock is a film genius.
Yeah, well, yes, everybody's inspired by him with everything they do.
So, audience asks, before we get distracted.
Yeah, so...
Even further.
I mean, the main one we have to do, because we didn't talk about this yet, but so we have to. Besotted Geek asked, why a William Shatner mask? Why was that even a thing? What was the demand for Shatner masks like then? So many questions. So I looked up a lot about the mask. So
it was 2 choices for mask. A clown mask and that mask.
Yeah, so if you guys have not seen the clown mask, that thing is terrifying. It was a Don Post Emmett smiley clown mask. It's terrifying. But apparently not as terrifying as the Halloween mask that they
Well, they also picked this one up for like $1.
Yes. Because they had no budget, again.
Yeah.
So they picked up a William Shatner or Captain Kirk mask. Bleached it, and took off the eyebrows.
Yeah. And then dyed the hair.
Yes.
And I gotta say, that's one of the scariest horror masks out there.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But what the demand for Shatner masks back then, I really honestly don't know. I know that they...
Well, Star Wars was huge back then,
yeah,
wasn't
it was huge back then. But I honestly don't know if that was like...
That's why William Shatner masks would have been popular, is because kids want to dress up as Captain Kirk.
Well, yes, but it was done by Don Post Studio Life Cases, and it looks very similar to a different mask, apparently, of Captain Kirk, but it's not that mask, and they were very specific about it. And the mask that they use is still around. It's somebody in, I think they said Ohio, has it, a collector, and he has it on display, but he won't let anybody take pictures with it anymore because it's like kind of disintegrating. Right.
So I heard an interesting story about the mask, actually.
Okay.
Where they approached a mask company to try to produce it. Mm-hmm. They say, we need a mask for a Hollywood movie. What do you have? Are you able to work with us? We don't have a budget. And they're like, no, we're not going to do it because you're not going to pay us. Betting that company had that decision back.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But, I mean, it is what it is. And just to go along with the mask, in Laurie's bedroom, there's paintings of James Osner paintings, which he was an expressionist painter, known for depicting characters with disturbing masks. And I looked up, like, a few of the paintings.
Terrifying?
I don't know if they're meant to be terrifying, but they're pretty creepy. So James Asnor, it's Esnor. Like, look them up. Look up those paintings. They're something. So obviously that had some
factor
into what he wanted.
Fair. I like their choice with that. Captain Kirk, bleached white and with no hair on his face. Terrifying.
Right. Okay, so I wanted to... Well, somebody asked, did Michael Myers learn to drive, Daniel? Of course somebody would ask that. So I'll do this one. Movie Geek and Proud said, is there ever a time you just make the decision not to trust someone who is trying to play a prank or scare you and leave the situation? Example being looking for someone who is hiding and waiting to jump out, or a boyfriend who is under a white sheet just standing there not saying anything. And the meme he used to ask the question was the meme from the Jimmy Kimmel Halloween video that just came out recently, where the kids go in to take pictures with Michael Myers, and one of the little girls is so adorable. She walks right up to Michael Myers and she's like, nope, and walks right out. So I thought that was funny that they asked that question.
I mean, that's fair. There has to be a time where it just, you have to like, no, that's nope.
I feel like I've probably done it. I can't think of a time, because I feel like if I am scared, I'm caught off guard. Because if I see what you're trying to do, I'm not going to be scared. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. If I can see you, I'm not scared. You have to catch me off guard. So,
well, it's one of those things where I don't think I've had a case where it's been, I'm just going to have to walk out because I don't expect to be murdered. But at the same time, I'm sure there is some case where...
Okay, I can give an example, actually. So there's a thing called Haunted Hill around here.
Okay.
And you go through all these haunted houses, and they're all different setups. The one that's the clown house, I literally had to plan in advance to have my friends remove me from that house so I could skip it. So I'm like, nope, went right around, did not do the clown house. So I guess in that instance, yeah, I kind of did.
Well, I've never done that, so...
Yeah, no, I'm not. Why would I put myself through that? Why? Why? Am I asking for problems? I just feel like that's just, no. Mm-mm. Nope.
And you said I had a problem with clowns.
Oh, nope. But anyways, so, I mean, there's actually a bunch of other things that I had found, but, we don't have hours to go.
We have time. We have a little bit of time.
No.
Couple more things.
No, it's fine. But, I mean, no, I'll leave it at that. But, sorry, I'm reading all my notes now because he made me do that, but I don't want to go through any of the other things. So, rating?
Oh, I have one last thing.
Of course you do.
I do. How did he survive at the end?
Because he's supernatural,
He's
bro.
not supernatural. The person he was a 6-year-old child.
The Curse of the Thorn.
Okay, fine.
You need to watch, apparently, Halloween 6, and it explains it.
Well, this was not explained in the first one.
Well, honestly, to me, that makes it kind of more creepy. Like, what the heck? Like, why? Like, why didn't he die? Like, I don't want to know an answer. I like the, like, creepy aspect of it. Like, he just got up and walked away. That's
after getting
scary.
shot like 6 times.
Yeah, that's terrifying to me. I don't need a reason. That's terrifying all on its own.
All right. I would say I'll give this a 9.4.
Yeah, I was going to say 9.8 because you know what? Obviously,
9.5.
There are a few questions, but to me, it didn't make it any less good.
No.
And sorry if you guys can hear banging. Our heat apparently is coming on and the radiators are banging, so that's fun.
So that's the end of the movie.
Yes.
We love this movie. This is the end of our John Carpenter binge for a while. We promise.
Yeah, don't send us John Carpenter movies because then we have a problem.
So what are we doing next week?
Next week. Okay, so guys, the downloads have been pretty low, and we know that we've been watching a lot of old movies. So anybody who hasn't watched The Thing, that's our least watched or listened to podcast ever. So listen to that. But we are going to try to be more current.
They saw The Thing in this movie. They were watching it.
Oh, right. We didn't even mention that. But yes, they were watching The Thing in this movie, which was weird because John Carpenter had not yet recorded The Thing. But it was his VHS that was on the TV.
So he loved The Thing, and they played The Thing, and then he went on to direct the new version of The Thing.
Right. So that's The Thing.
Oh. That's The Thing. Ha! You're way too proud of yourself for that.
I really am. Anyway, so we're going to do a more current movie. We switched around the calendar to try to, get some current stuff in there.
We do nothing but try to make you all happy.
Right. So be happy and listen. Anyway, So we decided that next week we're going to do Murder on Orient Express with Johnny Depp, because I love him. I don't even know if we've done a Johnny Depp movie, to be honest.
I don't think so.
I love him. So you're just going to hear that a lot next podcast, so just be ready for it.
This is my life.
Yeah. But there is going to be a lot of movies in November that you guys have requested or told us that you like, so stay tuned for that. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. You have to give your thank yous.
Oh, he's right. So good thing I have you. I need to say thank you to Jake at Ethics Music for our intro and outro music. Happy Halloween, guys.